Tamla Morris Brown, CEO of Aaliyah's Motivation of Women. Tamla's pain is her motivation, which is also her battle cry. Join her in her leadership to bring awareness to fibromyalgia. Let's make a difference and bring the end to 24 hours, 365 days a year of pain. Tamla Morris Brown can be reached at 313-289-4090. That's 313-289-4090. Join her if you or somebody you know has fibromyalgia. Tamla, a soldier in pain.
Discover the truth. Better know who you are. Discover the truth. 'Cause the truth don't change. No, the truth don't change. It remains the same. Better know who you are. Discover the truth.
What's all the talk about being black and Indian? I'm half this, half that, you must be kidding. Original, we the first to do it. And all these other nations are just our children. Even the pale skin was made in our image. Read the book of Ruth and check out your lineage. It's the melanin that gives us a dark complexion. That's a gene, no color separation. The Willie Lynch let it work to perfection. 2000 something and yours.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Katrina Muhammad, and you're watching the Think Tank. Thank you for joining us today. Let me tell you, I'm so excited about today. Our co-host is Brother Sutton Bay. He's given me the opportunity to do a very special show today. And in the studio with me, I have two women who I really firmly believe are my soul sisters. And, you know, in the beginning, they were a little shy and they said, well, I don't know if I can do this, Katrina. I'm a little nervous. I've never been on TV. So I want you to definitely call in, support the show. We're going to flash the phone number for you in just a moment so that you can call in. What we're going to be talking about today are youth that are in a very special program. So if you have some children in your home where they have had a little bit of trouble, they've had a little bit of a hard time, maybe they've been arrested, maybe they've been in a detention center, maybe they've been skipping school, things like that, you may have actually participated in some of the services that these two beautiful women are going to be talking about today. So let me introduce them. Directly next to me is Miss Clapp. She is a director of a school where I teach, and I love her. She's an amazing directress, and I'm going to let her talk to you a little bit more about that. And directly next to her is our superintendent. Her name is Miss Martin, and she is phenomenal. She is actually over all of the schools for this particular company in the state of Michigan, and I'm so happy to have met her. She's a very thorough and professional woman. And I mean, you know, everybody knows I talk about my students all the time and teaching all the time. I love educators. It's just something very special about people who work with children to help them, to teach them to become a better person. So let's talk about that. How you all doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you
You
for
girls
having me.
okay?
I'm doing great, but after that introduction, I'm hoping I live up to it.
Yes.
My goodness.
So we're just going to have a relaxed conversation. You know, Miss Clapp, can you tell our listeners and our audience what exactly do you do as a director, and of a director of which school?
I am the center director
And
for
you'll have to sit up so you can speak because we want all of the 8 million potential viewers that's watching us today to be able to hear you.
Well, thank you for making this easier.
Yes, ma'am.
I am the center director for ACE Academy, a step down program in Highland Park, Michigan that we service former adjudicated and currently adjudicated youth.
Okay, and so what age groups do you accept in the school, and what grades?
We accept from ages 13 to 19,
Okay.
grade 6 through continuing education on past high school.
So just in case the viewers are not aware of some of the terms we're using, I'd like to always break down the terms. When we say formally adjudicated, what exactly does that mean?
Formerly adjudicated are youth or juveniles who have committed past crimes and had to serve sentences or their sentence at a lockup facility for youth. Formally adjudicated means they have continued their sentence. They are still court monitored, but they have a little bit more freedom. They aren't actually detained.
So that means they may be wearing a tether or
Yes.
an ankle bracelet, something to that extent, right?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. And Miss Martin, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Tell us exactly what is a superintendent of these schools? How many schools are you an authority over? Like, how big is this company?
Well, so I'm the superintendent for EdTech Central Schools.
Okay.
And EdTech Central is an educational service provider. We run charter schools, manage charter schools. My role is a little different from a traditional superintendent that would oversee all of the budgeting and personnel and just every nuance of the school's functioning and operation. So I'm a part of a management company that oversees all of those operations. As the superintendent, I manage, direct the educational programming and the teachers.
Okay.
So our instructional personnel, our non-instructional personnel, our paraprofessionals or our emergency subs.
Okay.
And I oversee all of the programming
Wow.
as well as the compliance monitoring.
Wow.
But I have a team of people that helps with that as well.
So is it schools just in the state of Michigan, the company, or is it also outside of the state of Michigan?
No, we only have schools in the state of Michigan right now.
okay.
We have schools in Detroit, Highland Park, Pontiac, and we also have a school on the west side of the state in Kalamazoo.
So I've worked with Miss Martin now for a few months, and I've actually worked at 3 of her facilities, and one in which where mostly her office is for the most part. So I had an opportunity to work with her or see her on a regular basis. And what I observed is one of the hardest working women I have ever met and encountered. We're talking about a woman who gets there around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. She's meeting with teachers all day. She's in other meetings. She finds time to also pop in and say hi to all the students. She does a lot of one-on-one counseling with them. We'll turn around and buy lunch and breakfast for them, going on field trips. I mean, you name it, this woman is doing it. And so I told her a long time ago, you know, I'm on this television show. I host a show. I really want you on the show. She said, oh, no. I'm behind the scenes kind of person. I said, no, it's people like you that we need to see, we need to hear from, because that will encourage someone else to step up and do the same thing. And you never know who's watching this show that will say, especially children, say, you know what, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, but I like what the lady on television was talking about. Maybe that's something I want to do in terms of working with children, but from the administrative side. So what is that like?
The administrative side,
Yeah.
you know what, I think because I was a former teacher, and I know one of the things that I've shared in common with other administrators is that I miss my classroom every day. It's kind of the, what is it, red pill or blue pill?
Yeah.
Would I go back to my classroom? No. I have a greater impact now, but I do miss my classroom. I miss having my 30 students in my room and working with them. Being an administrator, your classroom becomes your teachers, and it's a classroom of adults, and it's really different because adults do not have to do what you say, like your students. They
Right.
don't sit quietly
Right.
during meetings, but there's a difference. When you run into a teacher, and I can think of a teacher that we had a year or two ago, who just has that spark. He's got that natural gift, and you can work with that teacher, and you start to see the growth and the development, the change in management. It's a different feeling. It's rewarding. It's still just not the same feeling as when you're in your classroom with your kids.
Right, right. Well, you hired a phenomenal directress, Miss Clapp, who I can testify to now that I work with her, and we've only been working together maybe about a month or so, but she sincerely has a genuine love for the children and what she does. So
She's
you have
a
an eye
natural.
for talent.
Yeah, she is a natural. You know, teaching is a calling.
Yes.
Those that do it well, they are called to it. You don't
That's
just
right.
walk in a classroom and, you know, after going through 4 years of college and you're instantly good at it.
Right.
And Talia is a natural. It's so interesting to see her grow because we've been together now for almost 10 years. Might be 10 years. And to see her, she has done just about every role in a school.
Oh, wow.
All
I
the
didn't know
way,
that.
she
Okay.
started as the after school
Wow.
support and moved from there to being a paraprofessional. Took over a classroom when we had an emergency need, and she has just moved from there. And
Wow.
now she's got her own 2 sites.
Wow. 2 sites.
Yeah.
Moving on up. Don't you all hear that song in your head? Moving on up. So, Miss Clapp, tell us why you love being an educator and a director,
It's
and especially with this population.
it's funny you ask that because I did not go to school for this. I went to school to actually be a juvenile judge.
Wow.
So to end up in this situation, in this particular career right now is unbelievable. And it started, like I said, I graduated from school, came home, and it was time to start making some money. And I was at a crossroads because I didn't know where to transition into next to be a judge. So I started off, a social worker said she needed a after school director. So I was only working, when I first started working at the school, I was only working 4 hours a day. And then now I'm working 8, 12 hours a day possibly.
Right.
Actually, so I never saw this as a calling, but when I started working the after school program, I just felt like it was nothing else for me. And
Wow.
working with kids has become definitely a passion.
So tell us your most memorable success story. Your favorite moment, or a moment where I guess you realized, okay, this is why God brought me here, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, that moment where it just clicked, like, oh, okay, that's what this is about. That's why I'm here. What is that moment for you?
That moment is when I started working at Detroit Behavioral Institute. This is when we transitioned from general education to more so placement adjudicated education.
Okay.
And just stepping in there, and when the kids did not know what, or they didn't have a feeling for college, they didn't
Okay.
have that experience of knowing what happens in college, all the way from filling out an application.
Right.
So what I did was I started, or we put together a college success week where we introduced what college
Wow.
is, the process of college, and we had a pep rally week. And I was able to just pretty much bring college life into Detroit Behavioral Institute. And at that moment is when I realized, like, okay, this is it. Just to see their faces and to see their excitement and to see their willingness and ready to and want to go to college. That was the moment where I felt like, okay, this was it. And I was teaching for at least 4 years before I did that.
Wow.
And that was my moment.
So there are probably some viewers that are interested in wanting to enroll their children in the school, or at least find out more information. Would you like to share with them how they can get in touch with us, or is there a website or email where they can call, or send a letter or email to
Sure.
someone?
Well, we are located on 15127 Woodward, and we take open enrollment from 2 o'clock to 3:30 every day. All you would need to do is just drop by between those hours, and you will get all information that's needed. We do also have a website, exitcentral.com, and where
And
you can
that's in
find.
Highland Park, right?
Yes, Highland Park.
Okay. So in the school, do you have to be an adjudicated youth to be eligible to attend, or can it just be any student?
No, you do not have to be an adjudicated youth to attend. It could be any student.
Okay. And is there a summer program?
Yes, we start July 10th.
And the summer program, what is entailed in that? What will they be doing?
We have different. First of all, we always are within recovering for credits, high school completion always, and then we have a afternoon session as far as more as team building, fun exercises, learning different life skills, and pretty much fun. We have more so handling business during the day, and in the afternoon having fun.
That is wonderful. Ms. Martin, are there some support services for these students? Because I'm assuming, based on what we've been talking about and the students and the challenges that they have encountered already, maybe some of them are parents, maybe some of them are homeless, maybe some of them I don't know, they're living with someone who's their caretaker that maybe is not taking very good care of them, so they're really kind of more so on their own. What type of additional services have students needed and are provided through your school system?
So it's different for each campus.
Okay.
For our schools that are located inside of the juvenile justice facilities, that is a part of their treatment.
Okay.
So for ACE Academy and Capstone Academy, they receive that treatment because they are there in the wraparound services, social work, therapy when needed, trauma-informed therapy, as well as when they begin the de-escalation process, which is the moment when they are going to go back into the community.
Okay.
When they come back into the community, they're still connected to a care management organization that will follow and work with them. If they have a probation officer, they have a probation officer that they report to.
Okay.
So there's a large amount of treatment with the students that are in the facility. On the outside, I don't want to say we're left to our own devices, but we do have to work and create community liaisons and community connections in order to receive services for our students. In Pontiac, a lot of times that's the Lighthouse,
Okay.
where when our students are homeless or hungry, our families have been in need of Thanksgiving baskets, coats for kids, and
Wow.
Christmas.
And the school has provided that?
Well, this past Thanksgiving, we passed out 25 full Thanksgiving dinner baskets.
Wow.
We did receive coats as donations for our students at Christmas. However, we did not have enough.
Okay.
So we called and begged and drummed up coats that children that were special sizes. We bought coats. We called everybody we knew. My children's old coats got taken up, so that every child got a coat.
Wow.
Currently, we are in the middle of our prom dress season.
Okay.
So we've collected, I say we, a phenomenal woman who should be here with us, Miss Cardell, and you know
Oh,
Yolanda.
yes. I'm going to get her on this show one of these days. I'm working on it. But she's amazing.
She
yeah.
is amazing, and she does not take no for an answer either.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
you two have a lot in common.
Lot in common.
Right. But she has gathered up dresses far and wide. We have driven around to get bins and barrels of things so that our young
that's
ladies
great.
can have prom. The interesting thing about it is this is only the second prom that our young ladies at Life Skills have ever attended.
Wow.
In the past, the students, they weren't interested in the more traditional activities. And slowly, we started to bring those into the program so they have a more well-rounded, holistic experience.
Right.
And so prom is one of those activities. And this year, the conversation about prom and when was it was at the beginning of the year.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we reach out to the community. We reach out to the care agencies, Department of Human Services, Intricate Care, which is a medical group in Pontiac for our young ladies that are mothers. So there are services. When it comes to our educational services, we have to follow all of the rules
Right.
of the Michigan Department of Education. So we have special education, social workers that come in that we contract.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm glad you talked about prom. I remember my prom, and just real quickly, I've had lots of therapy over this memory of my prom because my father would not let me go to prom with my chosen prom date. In fact, my prom date showed up. I was upstairs getting dressed, trying to get cute, and he showed up with a mustache, and my father said, "How old are you?" And he said he was, I don't know, 20. I think he was in college. I worked with him at J.C. Penney. I thought he was cute. I asked him to go with me to the prom. And my father said, "You're how old, 20? You have a mustache? You have a good night," and dismissed my date. My dad called some of the neighbors, a neighbor boy from across the street he had already arranged, called his mother, said, "I need your son to put on a suit. He's taking my daughter to the prom." Then he called my uncle and said, I need you to come over here right away because I also dismissed the date who came with the limo. So I need you to drive my daughter and the date I've arranged to the prom. For me, you will be her chaperone. So now you see why I've had lots of therapy over the prom. But needless to say, I'm glad I went to my prom. I have spoken with people who are adults now, and I'm talking about good grown adults who, that's still a sore spot for them. They, for whatever reason, something was happening, and they missed their prom. And that was an experience that, I know it's almost like a coming of age, they didn't have that. And they regret not going to their prom, not experiencing that. So I'm so happy to hear that these children and all that they've gone through, we're talking about the tragedy, the trauma, the heartbreak, trying to get back on the right road, trying to strive for their education and graduate and get back in their right grade. To go to the prom, to be able to go to a prom.
It's big.
I mean, that's huge. That is big. And I mean, I'm so happy you all are providing that. So, I mean, what are the students saying about their prom? Do they understand the magnitude of this? Are they excited and buzzing about the prom?
They are. They are very excited. So one of the things that we've talked about is that I didn't get a chance to go to my prom. We got lost, and so I was only there for 45 minutes.
Oh,
So I'm going to prom with the girls this year. And I
Yes.
told them, I say, you better get your best dress because it's going down at the prom. So I'm going to prom with them. They are excited. They've had a lot of new experiences. So field trips, the career exploration, we've gone to visit colleges. What it all, when it boils down and you try to make it something neat and succinct, is that they are still teenagers.
That's
They're
right.
still children.
that's right.
They have some adult experiences. They have made some child choices that ended them in adult situations, like being teen parents. But they're still kids.
Let's take a quick break and we will come back on the other end with more conversation. We encourage you to call in to the show because I know you have some questions. You're watching The Think Tank.
I'm phased up, illuminated. I see you watching, I know you hate it. We done woke up, re-educated, off of Jubilees, demonstrate a new nation, come of age, a long way high from them slavery days. Let my people in before we kick the door. Had them up T's coming with the swords. We born more, reduce the black, lace my boots up, cause I ain't having that. Call me a citizen, no, I'm a national. King Kendrick Seal, they calling me a radical. Cause I'm outside the box and I ain't looking in. I be my riff knocked out, gray shadowed in. Europeanized mindset hammered in. The great fall of the Moor man, I was on my square, on my five. Consciousness on overdrive, mind state on high. Praise Allah that I'm alive. Awake from the grave in the sea full of lies. I come to claim what's mine, so step back. It's that time, it's the return of the Moors. Return of the Moors. Return of the Moors. It's the return of the Moors. Return of the Moors. Return of the Moors.
I rise above the murder thesis of the flesh. I give praises to Allah, cause every day I'm blessed. I'm being tested daily, living amongst the shady. At night I gotta pray, if not, the streets will drive me crazy. I'm keeping things in a bounds of moderation. Being locked up taught me to practice patience. Every year I'm trying to see another more celebration. I once was in the dark, but now the light I'm facing. I thank Parker Bay for all the faithful demonstrations. We know death is a friend, so ain't no escaping. Islam means peace. I'm surviving in these streets. Too many years in prison, so now if I had to seek, I got a conflicted soul, but now my soul is meek. I got the gift, honor to Noble Drew Ali. He opened my eyes, so now I plainly see what the more.
I'm Sutton Bay. And those of you who do know who I am, then you can understand the purpose of a program like this today. See, one of the things that we have to get involved in, and I'm always talking about the youth, I'm always talking about intervention and prevention. Rehabilitation is a stage that I had to go through because the intervention and the prevention that was in place wasn't substantive. It didn't have what it needed for me in order to get it at the age that I needed to get it. Not everybody is going to get it early, and not everybody is going to get it, period. But some learn slower than others. And I was one of those slow learners. I had to go to prison, and I had to do 24 years, 2 months, 6 days, and 15 hours incarcerated in order for me to go through my cocoon stage, in order for me to get it, in order for this butterfly that you see right here today to be flying and doing what it's doing. But because you have women like you see or seen or see today on this television program, it's the very reason why a brother like myself chose to go another route, because at some particular point it becomes tiresome. Running in and out the system, going to jail, going to the youth home, going to the training school, going to prison, being on parole, having a GPS monitor, and the list goes on and on. And what people need to understand is it's easy to get in the system, but the damnedest thing is to get out. The only way, I'm going to reiterate that. I'm not going to say the only way. But I believe that the way that I was able to get out of the system is because I was exceptionable. I was put in a position, I was blessed with a position that forced the system to regurgitate me. It wasn't that they didn't want to let me go. It was because I became a cancer. I was something that was on the inside that would spread. Because once I landed my situation and I became a talk show host while I was incarcerated, wrote books, etc., and I was able to tell my story and harp upon that and hammer it in on a consistent basis every year on the Hodo Show and the other Viewpoint before I received my own blessing of being able to have my own talk show while I was in prison. I didn't go to camps. I did go to camps, but I did hardcore time. I went to the actual big house, the penitentiary. I was around the hardcore of the hardcore. But I also remember those very same guys, well, most of them, that was in my age bracket, and we went through the juvenile system together. And one of the things that we was adamant about is because we understood that the system that was in place, it was substantive, but the people who were applying the system wasn't substantive. See, it's a difference between a person who actually has experience on how to apply the teachings of rehabilitation and prevention and intervention than someone who is doing it from a textbook perspective. Then it's someone who actually has that passion, and they not necessarily have to experience the criminal side of things. And that's what I experience here. This is what I get from the sisters that's on this show today, is that they have the passion, and they may not have been through the system, but they have an acquaintance with the system, because we come from the hood.
That's right.
We come from the ghetto. We come from the slum, or whatever people want to put titles on it. And everybody has some type of experience with a family member in today's world, coming from the urban community, with someone who has been through the system, whether it be the juvenile system or the adult system. And when you have been hit or you have been touched by that particular cancerous vacuum from the mid-80s all the way through the 90s and the 2000s, you understand that there was a pandemic. There was something that was going on within our community that, from an administrative perspective, the ball was dropped. And it's easy for us to say that it was conspiracy, it was by design, et cetera, but the more we spend time on talking about what happened in COINTELPRO and what happened through slavery, et cetera, we understand that there's a time and a place for that. But at the same time, I can't say that Black Lives Matter and I'm out there and I'm killing my own people.
Right.
So it comes a point where you have to put your money where your mouth is, and you have to let your actions speak louder than your words. So by me coming through and going through the system, and I understand the place that they work at and the people that they're working with, because at one particular time I was in that particular position. And when you have women who is willing to go outside of their job, they're not getting paid for this. to be on television, to
Right.
promote these programs, and to educate people in what it is that they're doing and the reason why they're doing it. See, I understand the difference between punching in the clock and working in the institution and coming home and being on television and not getting a dime. You know, this is an hour spent that they could have been getting a hair done or buying another dress or, you know,
Or for
getting
Miss
some.
Martin
getting
going to
some-
another meeting.
Exactly.
I mean, Lord have mercy. I'm like, when do
You
you
know,
stop working?
And I became a dentist today. I had to pull a tooth. I had to pull 2 teeth because these sisters wasn't coming on.
They were so shy.
And I don't think that they understood what they was coming up in here to do and what this was about and who was actually the founder of this particular programming, that the very same people that they work for and work with and they're trying to help rehabilitate is something that I've did, and it's a life that I've lived. And what's inspirational about this is you can take my life and now you can use it for good, because damn it, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
What I was telling Miss Clapp and Miss Martin when I first talked to them about being on this show is the magnitude of their jobs. It's as if I'm talking to angels. I mean, we say, you know, people say angels. What are you talking about? Well, in the Nation of Islam, we believe God works through people. And so the work that I have been able and blessed to do and experience and to see in terms of Miss Clapp do her job every day, working with students who have, in some cases, no love for themselves because of what they've gone through. And to watch Miss Martin do the same thing day in and day out. I mean, I feel like I'm working with and witnessing and looking at angels and God in them doing this phenomenal work. And it's not a lightweight thing. I mean, I believe that every day they're doing their jobs, they're saving a life.
That's right.
I mean, we talk about how important the children are. We talk about how we love our children. And then you find some children who've, you know, had a rough patch, like some of these diamonds in the rough,
That's
right?
what they are.
And I mean, they're so talented, so beautiful, but then some people run, they don't want to work with them, they're scared of them, all this kind of stuff. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, you know, the problem is you all walk around like you scared of the youth. Don't be scared of the youth. You have to understand, you have to love them. And if you love them, like genuinely love them, they'll do whatever it is you need them to do, and you'll get through to them. You're able to get through that barrier, that wall, that pain that they have, to really show them and teach them what it is you're trying to teach them. And I've witnessed Miss Martin do that.
And you have to love them when they're at their most unlovable.
Exactly.
It's easy to love the well-bathed, clean, well-fed student that comes to school.
Right.
That's easy. The student that arrives and Ms. Muhammad, you've been there with us, that is homeless.
That's right.
And he came to school because hopefully we would have something to eat, like our bagel program in Pontiac.
That's right.
And yes, he's disruptive because
What she's talking about, brother, is they literally feed the children every morning that come into their high school. And you have some children that's their probably only meal for the day. They provide that.
But they see, that's the thing about.
sorry, I cut her off. I
I
want her to
did too.
finish.
I wanted to finish too, but that's the thing about the streets. That's how our unconscious predators prey on our
Youth.
most vulnerable.
Right.
It's because they love them, or they show them what they perceive to be love.
Right.
When that is the foundation of getting the attention, is being able to love them, to feed them, to comfort them, to console them, to be there for them. So when they know that they can go get a meal, they can go get a hug, even if it's a joint in the street and a hug, they receiving something that they're equating with love.
Right.
But when you actually have genuine love, they gravitate towards that. Some may rebel, some may talk that fat talk and that tough talk, but they really want it, but they're rebelling because they don't know how to trust people.
Right.
You know, the people that, a lot of people got to always remember, some of the people that is the closest to these young children have hurt them,
Right.
have molested them, have abused them, etc. So it's hard for them to accept love from somebody that's a stranger when someone who's supposed to love them has done the things that they have done to them. So they throw up these barriers, they act out, they throw temper tantrums, etc., but then they the same ones that's at the front line or at the door when it's time for that meal to be served, because they know that it's genuine love, but they got that wall up because that's defense mechanism because of the things that they went through. So when you're able to break that barrier down by doing what they do at the school, then you're able to connect with them.
No, you don't. They want to call her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I've seen children. She has to kick them out of her office. Like, they want to go home with her.
Like a real mom.
Like, adopt me,
Kick
Miss
them
Martin,
out
please.
like a real mom. My mom used to
No,
kick me out the
telling
house.
you. I'm telling you, and
You have to go to
she'll
class.
tell them,
Right.
you know, look, this is what I need you to do, and she's not, you know, soft on
I'm
them, like, oh,
leaving.
just do whatever you want to do. No,
I'm leaving the
she's-
building and they're behind me. Yo, where you going?
Right.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm the superintendent.
Mm.
But you know what was interesting is we just had a fundraiser, charity event last night. And as a part of the event, our students created definitions for different character traits, different acts.
Mm-hmm.
And they could not define love.
See what I mean?
142 students, they could not define love. And what was heartbreaking is that for some, love equals sex. And we can't pass that out as a character trait, but why do you think that? And we delved into some very dark places.
That's right.
We have students who have parents, either or mother or father, that have chose their molester over them.
That's a fact.
I
It
have
happens.
moved out of, this parent's house because she or he wants their spouse back, and I can't be there with the spouse.
What they call that, the Stockholm syndrome.
And the students could not define love, at least not a healthy definition of love. Our students call us over the break. Sometimes it's heartbreaking. We are scared to leave for a week or 2 weeks for Christmas or Easter because our students are like, we needed you. The parents as well. We spend time going to horrible recitals. We go to all kinds of things, recitals, church events, different things that the kids invite us to because they want us there. They ask us to be there. Sometimes we go to court.
Wow.
They'll have the probation officers call us, even over calling the parents. The probation officers will come and ask us, like, tell us the truth. What's going on?
I need an honest answer
Wow.
because from you, and I tend to cut you off because we got to get ready to go to a break because we have another segment of the Think Tank show, which is called The Morris Thought. But the question I need to ask you, and you ask me, you say, brother, don't get me up here and put you on blast. And I promise I wouldn't do that because I seen how big your purse was, and I'm not trying to get hit in the head with it. But do it appear that the system is overwhelmed with people that need the help and not enough personnel?
Not enough personnel.
Genuine personnel, should I have said.
Genuine, yes. We have too many people, too, that exploit the system. So it's difficult determining who has authentic need and who has fabricated need. I watch some of our students, their parents, the different ways that they'll manipulate the system in order to get additional funds or additional assistance. And it's not that the need is not there, but there is a limit. There are boundaries, which becomes the issue even with their children, understanding boundaries, where the cutoff is. And when we have our resources going to a specific, school of people that have learned how to manipulate the system, that leaves those that need in need. If you are working in this system and you're doing well in this system, it's because you want to be there and you're willing to put in the extra hours. When Miss Clapp said that she worked a 12-hour day, I look like, when did you go part-time? Because I know.
Yeah, seriously, she works much longer than 12 hours.
Because I'm like, there are days that my day is 21 hours.
So can we
Wow.
volunteer on, because we
I mean,
definitely.
I don't know if you heard what she just said. It's 24 hours in a day.
I understand.
She said there's some days where her work day is 21 hours.
I understand.
Now, this woman, she has children. In fact, can I tell them
Yes,
something real special?
yes.
You're sitting next to a superwoman. She had triplets.
She had who what?
Triplets.
Yes.
My head hurt.
3 came out of that womb
I
at
got
one time.
3 16-year-olds at home.
I got a headache.
But we have
You can't even handle
mornings.
that.
316
Triplets.
Yes.
Lord,
Yeah.
And I'm sure one of them texting me now to drive them somewhere.
I'm gonna pray double time for you.
You got to bow down, brother.
And-
You need to understand.
And then you got knuckleheads too, and I don't care if y'all get mad at me if I call y'all a knucklehead, because I'm chief of the knucklehead. Matter of fact, I'm the president of the knucklehead club. So you can get mad at me all you want.
But no,
I'ma
24
pray for
hours
you.
in a day,
I will
21
say,
hours. That's amazing.
yes, we have mornings.
How can we
Or
get
we
people?
have days where we get up at 4 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
because we have school. We have kids that we've got to go and grab because they need to go to a shelter or to a certain location so that they can shower.
Now we definitely got to go,
Wow.
but I want to ask this question because I think it's
Yes.
important.
Don't forget about my book of the week.
And we definitely got to do that. But how can we on a voluntary basis can people? I know that they can't hire and pay everybody, but those who definitely have the passion to participate in this type of programming, how can they participate as far as voluntarily or volunteering their time, their effort, whether it be cooking, whether it be donating
the
money
coats
for
she talked about, or
outings,
other things.
donating money for the prom dresses, et cetera, et cetera. How can they do that?
We are always begging at Life Skills. We always need help. We always need volunteers. Right now, we're getting ready to assemble after-school programs. So those that are gifted and talented, they play instruments or they teach ceramics, and they want to volunteer to come in and teach once a week. If you go to our main website, which is EdTech Schools, you can send an email through our website. It'll come directly to myself and our director of curriculum. If you would like to volunteer, come in and speak to our youth. Again, that's easily handled at our community sites than at our adjudicated sites.
And that would be like where I work
Right.
in Highland Park, the one that Ms. Clapp mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Right.
And I know you mentioned earlier that prevention intervention is where your heart lies. Our life skills school, that's our intervention prevention opportunity, because we do have students that have entered into the system, but they are still at home. They have not been sent to ACE Academy or Spectrum Academy and Detroit Behavioral Institute. If you reach out to us, if you email us, Ms. Muhammad has my phone number. If you text us,
I'm gonna have your phone number
we
before
will
it's
get
over with.
you in there to come and talk to our youth. We need everybody.
I really appreciate you. I appreciate you
Weren't
coming.
they both wonderful? I hope they come back.
We
and,
got to do
and there are others too.
the book of the week.
Yes,
But I'm
let's do the book of
I'm
the
gonna say this before we go.
Yes, sir.
It's on and cracking.
It's on.
They got the Think Tank show on deck,
Yes.
and we definitely will be getting
I knew
back
you
with
would
them.
love to speak
Yeah,
with
no
her.
doubt,
I
no doubt.
told you.
As a matter of fact, someone that I love dearly was just talking about how this is not about me, but they think that this was something that I should have been involved in. So
All praises due to Allah. The book of the week, Miss Martin, you will be very proud that I'm always talking about education on this show. So we have a book called Buried in the Bitter Waters, The Hidden Story of Racial Cleansing in America by a guy named Elliot Jasmine. This is actually a Caucasian author, but you can find him on YouTube. He did a wonderful explanation of why he did this book. He went all around the country looking through databases, census bases to understand what happened to all the black people in the South, only to discover many of them were driven off their land or in some cases lynched and killed. So he comprised a book that talked about some of the worst areas in terms of county-wide that did those type of practices all throughout the United States between the dates of 1860 and 1932. And I mean, the first couple of pages of this book, you might be in tears, okay, because it's talking about what happened to our people, but it's a definite good read, especially if you're trying to educate your child on what happened in slavery times and after slavery. And then the last book is Joshua. Now, I told you I was going to get this book. I ordered it. It's a sign of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, written by Brother Burvi Muhammad. This is the third in the series, so it's a trilogy. Moses, Aaron, and now Joshua. I'm still in the book. As you can see, I've got my little bookmarker here, but I'm almost done, and I can't put it down. It is so good. So remember, one of the first instructions given to us by Allah God was Iqra.
Iqra.
And Iqra in Arabic means read. So please get those books of the week, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
read, dummy. Lamont.
Don't call him dummy next to two educators. Can you believe he said that? All praises due to Allah. Thank you so much.
All right,
Assalamu
y'all.
alaikum.
Thanks for tuning in. Y'all keep it locked. We got the more start coming next, man. This is the Think Tank Show. Y'all tune in to us next week, same place, same time. We'll be here on deck.
On deck. Salute. Thank
I'm phased up, illuminated. I see you watching, I know you hate it. We done woke up, re-educated off of Jubilees. Demonstrate a new nation, come of age. A long way high from them slavery days. Let my people in before we kick the door. Had them up T's coming with the swords. We born more, reduce the black. Lace my boots up, cause I ain't having that. Call me a citizen, no, I'm a national. King Kendrick Seal, they calling me a radical. Cause I'm outside the box and I ain't looking in. I be my riff knocked out, gray shadowed in. Europeanized mindset hammered in. The great fall of the Moor man, I was on my square, on my five. Consciousness on overdrive, mind state on high. Praise Allah that I'm alive. Awake from the grave in the sea full of lies. I come to claim what's mine, so step back. It's that time, it's the return of the Moors. Return of the Moors. Return of the Moors. It's the return of the Moors. Return of the Moors. Return of the Moors.
As I rise above the murky thesis of the flesh, I give praises to Allah, cause every day I'm blessed. I'm being tested.
Islam Moorish Americans, Islam well wishers, it is indeed a pleasure to be here this evening on the Think Tank show. First and foremost, I would like to say Moorish American prayer. 2 on the right, 5 on the left, feet at a 45-degree angle, face the east if you are participating. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Jurali. Amen. And the reason why my fingers are together, because all the pictures you see Prophet Noble Jurali praying, his fingers are together. They are not separated. They are together. First and foremost, I'm going to say praise Allah, the great God of the universe, and honors to the holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Jurali, who brought us our nationality and birthrights. Also want to give honors to all the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, etc. Give honors to Brother Marcus Garvey, who did warn and stir up the people for the coming of the prophet, Noble Jurali. I give honors also to our brother we have behind us, Brother Elijah Muhammad. Now, I'm giving honors to everything pertaining to the uplifting of fallen humanity, and go right into what I wanted to read. From the Holy Quran, I am a Maxim Cook Bay and Divine Minister on Facebook. I am the Grand Sheikess of Temple Number 13, Pontiac, Michigan. You can reach me at 248-759-9834. I should be reading from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Above America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jurali, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God Allah. And when we are utilizing slaveholder marks, slaveholder names, Negro, Black, Color, Ethiopian, African American, that is when we are considered being sinful. And that is a fallen stage, which puts us back into mental slavery. So we are to recognize and proclaim our nationality as Moorish Americans. I should be reading from the Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, page 21, chapter 13. Life and works of Jesus in Egypt among the Gentiles. See, Jesus taught in many places that we're not taught, which is not in our Holy Bible. He went to India, Africa, and Europe. These are the other places Jesus taught that teaches us in the Holy Quran. Jesus with Elihu and Salome in Egypt tells the story of his journeys. Elihu and Salome praise Allah. Jesus goes to the temple in Heliopolis and is received as a pupil. See, Jesus went to school, just like we all have to go to school. There are many degrees that Jesus went through in life. And Jesus came to Egypt land, and all was well. He tarried not upon the coast. That means he didn't play around and stop and do things he had no business doing. He went at once to Zoan, home of Elihu and Salome, who 5 and 20 years before had taught his mother in their sacred grove. in their sacred school of learning. See, this is where Jesus' mother was taught too. Jesus' mother went to school as well. And there was joy when met these three. They were so happy to see each other. When last the son of Mary saw these sacred groves, he was a babe. So he was just a baby last time he was there at that school of learning. And now a man grown strong by buffeting of every kind, a teacher who had stirred the multitudes in many lands. So Jesus had went many lands and was teaching all over the different areas that we spoke about in Egypt, Europe, India, and Africa. Elihu and Salome heard his story with delight. They lifted up their eyes to heaven and said, Our Father God Allah, let now thy servants go in peace, for we have seen the glory of Allah. So they were happy that they were able to learn and be in the light and walk in the light and learn from Jesus. And we have talked with him, the messenger of love and of the covenant of peace on earth, goodwill to men. See, Jesus was the messenger of love. That's why we must all learn to love instead of hate. We must first love ourselves so we can love others and teach others how to love the right way, the righteous way, so we can all unite through love and unity. Through him shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. See, they're telling us right here, through Jesus. So when someone tell you people of Islam do not love Jesus, that's not true. We love Jesus. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America explains all the different degrees and schools that Jesus attended and went to. Through him shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Through him, Emmanuel. That means we're all going to be blessed through Jesus and his teachings. And Jesus stayed in Zoan many days and then went forth into the city of the sun, that man called Heliopolis, and saw admission to the temple of the Sacred Brotherhood. See, we all have to admission to different colleges. See, this is a different type of university for him, the Sacred Brotherhood. This is a different learning, a higher learning that Jesus was going into, called the Sacred Brotherhood. The council of the Brotherhood convened, and Jesus stood before the Hierophant. Hierophant is like a bunch of judges, people that are watching you and seeing where you're at in your learning. He answered all questions that were asked with clearness and with power. So these were holy people, divine instructors, divine judges. The Hierophant explained, Rabboni of the Rabbinite, why come you here? Your wisdom is the wisdom of the gods. Why seek for wisdom in the halls of men? And Jesus said, in every way of life I would walk. See, Jesus is saying this. In every way of life I would walk. He's going to learn by walking through every way of life. In every hall of learning I would sit. He's going to sit through every type of learning. There needs to be learned. The heights that any man has gained, these I would gain. So he wants to gain heights. He wants to know. He needs the knowledge, just like we all want to know and know the truth about ourselves, about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. What any man has suffered, I would meet, that I may know the griefs, the disappointments, and the sore temptations of my brother man, that I may know just how to succor those in need. Because sometimes you go and seek help, and sometimes you actually feel the person, if they have not suffered or even been through the type of disappointments you have been through, they may not understand or may not be able to help you. So this is what Jesus is doing. He wants to learn how to help his brothers and sisters, secure them in need on any and every level. What any man has suffered, I would meet, that I may know the griefs, the disappointments, and the sore temptations of my brother man, that I may know just how to succor those in need. I pray you, brothers, let me go into your dismal crypts, and I would pass the hardest of your tests. The master said, take the vow of secret brotherhood, and Jesus took the vow of secret brotherhood. So now, when he took the vow of secret brotherhood, this was a secret. So you have to keep a secret. When you have a secret, you keep a secret. It doesn't mean you go and tell everybody. So he took a vow. And he wanted to take the test. And he felt the need to secure his brother man in need. Again, the master spoke. He said, the highest heights are gained by those who reach the greatest depths, and you shall reach the greatest depths. The guide then led the way, and in the fountain Jesus bathed. And when he had clothed in proper garb, he stood again before the Hierophant. Now see, I'm in proper garb. I've never seen Prophet Noble Drew Ali dressed up in any type of way, but in a suit or Moorish attire, always looking beautiful. It is time to think. We are watching the Think Tank Show. You're listening to the best. You're watching the best. WHPR TV 33. Our special thanks goes out to Temple 13 and their support, Brother R. Jones Bay and his support, and all the members and all the well-wishers. Tune in next week to the Think Tank Show from 5 to 6 p.m. Love and unity in our communities. Love and peace.